that it's a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day. Up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day.
Very special day it is. It's a Monday, moving right along here. Beautiful day. And I do have with me, actually, this morning, this is a paid political. I have Wes Bowers for Washington County Commissioner. And good morning, Wes.
Morning.
Happy Monday, right?
Yeah.
All right. And we also have our Commissioner of Washington County. We have Tony Cardwell with us. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Happy Monday, Tony.
Yeah, same to you.
I know. I need to get you in that microphone a little bit. We got
All right.
some really good microphones, but we need to make sure we hear you. Good morning, guys. We're on to the 27th day of April. I do want to say it's absolutely gorgeous outside, and we had a beautiful day yesterday, weren't we? Yeah.
It was
Spring,
very nice.
springtime, like it, love it, want a lot more of it, right? Yeah.
I'm ready.
I know.
For the cold to go away.
I know, right? I think everybody feels that way. All right, I want to thank our sponsors this morning, Meadowview Healthcare Center, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Americans for Prosperity. Angel is on assignment today. Mama Rosa's, Fox Pearly Wealth Management, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Marshall Monument, Springer and Springer Insurance, Snack Medical Hospital, Temple and Temple, and West Bauer for Commissioner. All right, guys, good to have you with us today. Let's see what today is. We know it's the 27th day of the of the month, and today is Babe Ruth Day. Babe Ruth Day. Even got a candy bar named after him. Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth Day. Also, International Crow and Raven Appreciation Day. Crow and Raven. I saw some hawks actually yesterday flying around, but I didn't see any crows or ravens. But
No, can't say as I have.
what about you, Tony?
Oh yeah, I see them all the time out on my farm.
Do ya? Is it what? It's not the. Which is the? Is it the crows that are really the bad ones? That are the big ones that are really?
I know they'll go after hawks. By
Yeah.
all means,
Yeah.
It's pretty neat to see them flying around doing all that.
Getting them. All right, International Design Day. Love that. In your business, you probably do a lot of designing, probably.
From time to time.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of part of it.
Marine Mammal Rescue Day, and it shows a dolphin. I love dolphins. Yeah. Also, let's see here. Morse Code Day.
Morse code.
Yeah, I remember little bitty, when you're little and you have a clubhouse, you have a club, and then we had a clubhouse, and and you try to do Morse code with your flashlight, Nobody could ever remember how many, how many beep, beep, beep,
I knew it once upon a time. I can't remember it anymore.
Yeah. Tony, you ever done Morse code?
Very little.
Very little. All right. National Devil Dog Day, and it looks like an ice cream sandwich. Yes, please, right? National Gummy Bear Day. Who doesn't love a gummy bear, right?
I do enjoy a gummy bear on
Yeah.
occasion.
Yeah. All right. National Prime Rib Day. Come on, now that should perk your ears up. Prime rib?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you love prime rib?
I'm not a big prime rib guy.
Oh, well then I'll take your
Yeah, you can have
portion.
mine.
Oh, I love prime rib. What about you, Tony?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Call me. I'll be there for prime rib. National Tell a Story Day.
Tell a story day.
Yeah, I love storytelling. I love my parents. My mom and dad both were beautiful storytellers, and that bedtime stories were the best. And I love a good storytelling. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Not
Can't get.
No.
No, not your thing. What about you,
What-
Tony? No.
It depends on what kind of story you're telling, I guess.
What is that? A left brain, right brain thing that they
Probably.
say? The more creative you are,
Yeah.
the better you are. I don't know. I think I'm one of those more mechanically inclined people. If that
Okay.
makes sense. Like
Yeah.
that side of my brain doesn't.
Yeah. Don't want to tell a story. Well, I love national. This would be a beautiful day to have a prime rib and then tell me a story, and I'll probably be out. So those are some holidays. Get out and enjoy. We do know this weather is absolutely fantastic. We are supposed to get some rain later, but that'll be quite a bit later, so we're okay right now. So anyway, anything you got to do, get out and do today, right? Before the rain, right?
That's the idea.
Right.
Good to keep it.
All right, let's jump in. Let's see here. It's been a week ago since we spoke,
Mhm.
and good to get you back, Wes and Tony. You too coming in, and let's jump in and see what are we going to talk about today. What's some?
Well, as much as I hate to, there's a lot going on with a particular project right now. It's been blowing up all weekend out there in the interweb, so to speak, on social media, and there's stuff all over the place. So we can talk about that a little bit. I think just bringing some clarity from my side, give my opinion and talk about some of the things that happen, and then I'd like to talk a little bit. I had a question that a gentleman sent me via Facebook about a week or so ago about economic development, tax base, things of that nature. So we'll kind of dive into that a little bit and talk about how that works in the county. You know, what agencies or what groups are involved in that, and kind of looking toward the future with those. There's been some conversations had and some phone calls made, and we can kind of chat about that whenever we get moved on to that topic, I guess.
All right. Well, let's talk first of all. Maybe for those that are not familiar and are knowing what you're talking about, let's kind of let's ABC it, like, you know what I mean, break it down, Wes, and tell us what you're talking about for those.
So, you know, I talk about contracting all the time. That's a big part. It's not the entire part, but it's a big part of what commissioners do. So I try to lean on that. Obviously, I don't want to talk to you about stuff that, you know, the office I'm running for has no control over. I want to get to the meat and potatoes of this is what I'm going to be doing, and this is, you know, just what I think about it. Well, I will give the general public one thing. So I talked, it's been a month or two back, about not being late to the party. You know, at the time we had the highway garage going on. Now, here's the deal. I have my disagreements with the way that some of that was done, but whatever, it's done. It's going to be very nice for our highway department guys to work out of, and it's over. So I'm not saying there's not a need to look into it and to learn from it, but, you know, what's done is done, and that's what I talked about on here. And I told people, I said, listen, if you really want to understand this, you have to get in front of things, you know, as they're happening, and you have to understand the way that they happen. You can't wait until you look and you see a you know, $3 million building going up and then decide, well, I don't like that. Well, a little late, you know. So that we've got this thing up at the fairgrounds with this 4-H building. I'm sure most of the county saw my lovely wife on Facebook here not so long ago, and all that played out there with her asking quite honestly, some very basic questions. She went in, and this is a Ready 2.0 project. For those that don't know what Ready is, it's a grant program through the state, and it was one that was put up ultimately by the commissioners, and I believe, was it approved by the council, Tony?
There was a matching grant fund that was approved by the council, but the project itself had never been voted on by the commissioners.
Okay.
If that's what you're
Yeah,
asking.
that's what I'm asking, because I'm sitting here, I don't have my notes in front of me, and again, there's a lot that goes into this stuff with inception and approval and how we get to all these places. But I will say on this, so essentially they're calling it a 4-H community building, so it's up to fairgrounds, and the project in and of itself, the standard response that you get when you start asking about this is, well, you don't like this project, you're not for this thing, and I'm like, no, anything for kids, I'm absolutely for. But, and I've talked about this on your show several times, procedurally, there is a way that things are supposed to happen, and for whatever reason, people don't like using that procedure. It's always well, this is what I'm doing, do as I say, and I'm like, no, that's not. That is the furthest from how things are supposed to work. There are supposed to be open forum discussions. There's supposed to be, the public should have known a lot about this way, way, way earlier than what's happening. And now what you have is you have people on here, and these things, when people disagree, especially on social media, it gets really ugly really quick. It turns into personal attacks. You get family involved. There's all this stuff that could be avoided just by doing it the right way. And I have tons of questions. Now, I know there was some stuff put out, a post made by our auditor, actually, which was strange, because the auditor doesn't vote on these projects, the commissioners do. So I don't really know how that plays in there of, they're quiet and she's defending. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. And again, I don't get on here and I don't spar back and forth with people. I know what the process is. I know how it's supposed to be done. It was either done the right way or it wasn't. But essentially, we had a project. They tried to run it the first time. It was a $358,000 project to tear down and replace a 4-H building, for when the kids do show cattle and show pigs and all that at fair time. Well, it got knocked down, so they submitted for it again. And now we went from $358,000 to $1.8 million. So, long story short, the whole debacle with my wife when she was in the commissioners meeting, and she was polite, started asking questions and said, how do we go from here to here? How do we go from $358,000 to $1.8 million? Not that anybody's opposed or we think that doing stuff for kids is a bad thing, but that's we're a long way apart here. So why is that? Explain that, please. Which, this is the second time I've watched this happen. The first time was with the highway garage. And people, I'm not talking about the project itself, I'm just talking about the way that people ask questions about it. And people come in and they say, hey, so how much do we have in this thing? I remember watching that question when the highway garage thing was going on, and I was so tired of hearing about the highway garage, but it was what it was. They said, well, how much money total do we have in this? And I watched that circle around that meeting for 20 minutes, and they never got an answer. Ever. Instead of just saying, hey, here's where we're at all in. You know, we had this approved by the council. We gave away almost 20 acres. It was valued at this. We used some ARP funds. That was this much. And, you know, I found this much change under my sofa cushions. I threw that in there too. So here's where we're at all in. That never happened. Now you fast forward, and we've got this thing that's coming. And again, for everybody out there that's going to try to, oh, you don't like that. No, I like it. I just want it done the right way. How hard is it to say, okay, we were at 358 and then we added these 6 things? Whether it's electrical work, I know they added the offices on for the that's the Purdue Extension.
Yeah.
The Purdue Extension ladies. We've added all this stuff, but I mean, you're going from 358,000 to 1.8 million. There's $1.5 million there of stuff. Now, I do a lot of building. $1.5 million buys quite a bit of stuff. I mean, maybe not to the level that some would think, but that's pretty substantial. So, I guess the point I'm making is how hard is it to, I mean, just to come out and say these are the tasks that are going to be completed. If I was, that's the equivalent, both of those instances, either not knowing how much money or saying you don't know how much money you've got in a project, or not talking about the basic functions that you're going to do throughout this thing. It's like if you contracted me to come build your home and you caught me, you know, partway through and you're like, so how much of my money have I spent on this so far, Wes? I'm like, I don't know. We spent some money. Okay, so how much? You know, I'd love to tell you, but I don't have a clue. You probably wouldn't be very happy with me as your builder. And then whenever somebody asks you, they're like, hey, Becky, I heard you were building a house. What's going inside of it? I don't know. Some stuff. So that's it. Just, yeah, I don't know. We're going to show up with some people and they're going to do some stuff. You see how ridiculous that sounds? So when you put that on a bigger scale like this, it's not difficult. Just be honest. And I've said this 100 times. If you do something that you can't stand in front of everybody and talk about, you are wrong. Now, I don't know the agenda. I don't know the reason behind why these things keep happening. But, I mean, this is very basic information. Because when I look at it, I see other things. You know, everybody gets wrapped around, well, what are we getting for our money? What are we doing? It's $1.8 million. My question is, how do we get to 1.8 to begin with?
Yeah. There was no communication within the project scope to, I can speak for myself, it was never brought to me past the joint meeting in the council we had where they approved the $300,000, so, you know.
Well, that's not a number. I mean, to go from, and I understand, you know, if you were at 358 and you got shot down, that was a null project, and then somebody had an idea, conversation somewhere, and it became this other thing. But
which should have been done in an open meeting.
Which, yes, is supposed to be done in an open meeting, but past that, you know, where are the plans for this thing? Okay? Who is your engineer on this thing? How did you come upon deciding to use that engineer? Was there a discussion amongst commissioners? Was there a scoping committee formed? Was there all these are the questions that pop into Wes's head, and I want to know how many of those steps were skipped along the way, because in order to have a number to give to the Economic Growth Partnership to run that grant up the flagpole, how do you get there?
I mean, been a process followed prior to that.
Well, I understand that, but it's like, again, you know, it's easier to understand whenever I kind of break it down to a smaller project. If you call me and you're like, hey, Wes, can you build me a house? Yeah. How much is it going to cost? I don't know. About this. I think. We ought to be able to do it for that. Come on. You know, that's not how... That's not how you do these things. They know it's not how you do these things. They know the exact answers to every one of these questions being asked. The bigger question is, why are you fighting people to not divulge that information? I mean, that's basic stuff. Because if I'm sitting in there and I've went through the process the right way and I'm going to do this great thing for kids, I want to tell everybody about it. Hey, here's the plans. That guy drew them. We just got grant money from the state to make this happen. It's going to be a wonderful thing. Going to have a community up there. You know, these ladies are supposed to be moving, getting better offices. The kids are going to have it year round to be able to do this, that, and the other. Like, you would think that you would be proud of it and want to talk about it. So, and this is what I've talked about on here before. When you try to hide things and you keep things behind the curtain, it makes you look shady. It makes you look like you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, even if maybe necessarily you aren't. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any evidence sitting in front of me says somebody's doing something wrong or illegal, other than procedurally, obviously. But it flies over my head. It baffles me the why. Why did we pick this? Like, who cares if you tell people, hey, yeah, we added, $250,000 worth of electrical upgrades that were needed at the fairgrounds. We added, we expanded the parking lot over here. And I don't know that these are part of it. I'm just throwing out examples. But they just take a hard stance that I'm not telling you. I can't explain it, Becky. I mean, it baffles me. Like, that is your entire job, is to tell those people, the public, about what you're doing. They're the ones that put you in there, and it's fought so hard. I don't get it, and I'm so tired of trying to explain to people, because they ask me, they're like, why does this happen? I'm like, I don't know. I can't explain it. The only thing I'll tell you is, if given the opportunity, it won't be done that way if I'm sitting in there. That's the only thing I can tell you. And I know there's a lot of people, some are genuinely concerned, some, I think, just they just like the drama of it, But at the root of this, it should be talked about. It should be out in the open. They have these meetings to have conversations. There's state guidance on how you're supposed to conduct your meetings and when you're allowed to, have private meetings, conduct what they call executive session, and how you're supposed to list that on your agenda to let the public know, hey, this is what we're doing. It's an exception to rule, whether they're talking about sensitive things or whatever. Everything else is supposed to be out in the open, and that doesn't happen. What happens is conversations and decisions are, I saw a thing the other day, conversations and decisions are made in the dark and ratified in the light.
They don't even get ratified. That's part of the problem.
Well, when they walk out and they
don't.
take,
I mean, you
take
can
a
go
vote.
back here and discuss something, and you're supposed to go out in public meeting and vote on it at that point in time. Or in certain situations, in emergencies or whatnot, you might have to make a decision. But everything you do is supposed to come to light in an open meeting and get ratified in an open meeting. Any decision that was made prior to that meeting. So, and it don't happen. And getting back to Wes on the information, I get asked questions about this and that, and being a commissioner, I can't answer it because even internally, the information don't get passed on like it should. So, you can't ask for something that you don't know it's happening. So.
Well, that goes back to how we run as a local government. Brad sat in here a couple weeks back and talked about, the council and their role in things. And Tony and I have talked a lot about, the way the commissioners work with one another internally. All those people need to be in the know, with the exception of a few certain things. And I've talked about this before. If you're talking about an employee, or you're talking about somebody did something wrong, or illegal, those are things that obviously you can't put out there on Front Street. There are other laws that govern that, and that has to be done in private. But outside of that, the things you're doing in this community, the things that you're spending taxpayer money on, the grants that you're getting, I mean, this stuff should be, you should be able to put it on a billboard and sleep perfectly fine that night. Because there's open door law through the state. It is open source information. And then you get in these meetings and you fight with people just ugly. And you got these, the little minion lawyers that come up there. That I'm not a fan. I'm just telling you right now. So if you're listening, we'll find out in a week, won't we? And then we'll have a different kind of conversation.
So I went to a neighboring county commissioners meeting the other night to see how they operated, and it was pretty impressive. Everything that was done in the 2 weeks prior, they went back and ratified everything. It was pretty neat. How they done it.
Yeah.
And the president said, "I done this and I done that, but I done it with the consent of the other two. Now we're ratifying," and even asked the public any questions. Nope. Bam, bam, passed. Everything was smooth. I'm thinking, man, I wish we could do that. So.
Well, I do want to touch on that for a second, because during that whole debacle, when they were trying to get my wife drug off the chair up there so she'd stop asking questions about stuff that they want to hide, there was something that was said that was true, and Todd said it. He said, sitting in the seat, he said, there are times that things happen that you can't wait for a meeting. You can't wait to talk in front. And I 100% understand. Emergencies happen every day, and problems don't wait for your meeting time in a week. I fully understand that. However, when you take action, or you call another commissioner and say, "Hey, this just happened. We got to get on this now. We need to make phone calls. We need to fix it." When you do come back to a meeting, that's when you discuss everything that you did. Hey, just going to get it on the record, going to ratify it, right? That this is what happened. These were the actions taken. This was the steps the commissioners took, and it was fixed. It was fixed within, 2 hours, 12 hours, whatever the case. And that puts it out there. That puts it out to the public that, hey, this is what happened. We had to make a call on the fly. We did. It corrected the problem. This is where we're at. Now we're telling you about it, because this was the first opportunity that we had to tell you about it. That does not happen. People just run around at random doing whatever they want to do, and that's not the process. That's not the seat that you hold. That's not how any of this works. I mean, did they give you a card that says do whatever in the hell you want to do whenever you got elected, Tony?
Actually, they wouldn't even give me my my other information. We won't go there at this point. But
I mean, I'm just wondering. Like, it reminds me of there was a scene from that TV show Parks and Rec where the guy comes up and he's like, "You can't do that," and he's like, "Here's my permit," and he said, "This is just a piece of paper that says I can do what I want." And I feel that's how that's how it works up here a lot, and it's very disheartening, because right now you have a lot of very, I don't want to use the word angry, I'll use the word concerned citizens, and we've talked about that before.
I'll use the word angry. I ain't ashamed.
I don't want to call everybody angry, because again, you've got people on both sides. You've got people that live for the drama of it, and then you have people that, I've talked to a lot of them, knocked on their doors, sat down with them, that are genuinely concerned about what's happening and how their money is being spent. And these are people, that are considerably older than I am. People that are retired and that have watched this happen for the last, 30, 40, 50 years, and like, hey, I'm not comfortable with some of the things I'm seeing. We need to get the train back on the tracks. And that's what's being relayed to me whenever I go out and I ask people what their thoughts are. And stuff like this of constantly spending money and always wanting to do projects and things like that in your own way, you don't get to do it your way. You do it by the way the state has established for you to do it. Period. If you don't like it, then resign. Get out. Get out of the seat. I mean, you don't get to, if you go take a job at GKN and they're like, hey, this is how you run the press. This is steps 1 through 10, and you're like, I don't like it. I'm doing it my way. They fire you. That's what happens. I mean, nowhere in life does it work that way. I'm self-employed, and there's still all kinds of people that I have to answer to doing these projects, whether they're inspectors, the bank, whoever. You know, everybody's got somebody to answer to, and in this particular position, it's state.
Being self-employed, you have more bosses in that than you do being employed. I'm here to tell you. So.
But I wanted to talk about that, and I'm not going to get into the drama side of it. Like some people kind of went down that road, and quite honestly, nothing good comes out of it. I think most everybody heard me a little while back whenever I was talking about we're getting close up to the election and things like that, and I just ask everybody to please be nice to one another. It's okay to disagree, and that's what I'm saying. I could live with it if these conversations were happening on Facebook, or they were happening out here in the Walmart parking lot amongst voters, and well, I like this, well, I don't like that, and there was disagreements being had. But the disagreements are taking place at the courthouse, in the meetings. I mean, over answering basic, simple questions. I don't get it. It's unprofessional. I don't like it. And I would, just like everybody else, I would like very much to see it stop. Because if we keep going down this road, I don't know how with that level of animosity in that room, I don't know how you accomplish anything good. I don't know how you use that time to do anything good for the county. It's just a constant battle, and it's not productive, and I'm very tired of it. But I did want to comment on it because, again, there's been a whole lot of people over the weekend putting a whole lot of emphasis on what we're talking about. But the last thing that I will say on that is this. I don't agree with several of the ways that it went down. I don't agree with the fact that some of the people up there, some of the commissioners will not come out and just say, here it is. Just lay it all out on the table. But I will tell you this. Before that project can get rolling, and once that grant money comes in, and like, okay, it's time to go, I would tell the good voters of Washington County, watch the bid process. Because if I see another BOT come out like I did on the highway garage, I will tell you right now, it's improper, it's dirty, and throw a fit. This thing should be bid the correct way by state regs, minimum of 3 bids by companies that are technically proficient enough and large enough to be able to handle it, and move on with it. And if it's 400,000, if it's 1.8 million, if it's 2.2 million, don't care. Do it the right way. Follow the procedure. Put your bid notices out on the time frame that the state says that you're supposed to. Take your 3 bids, 5 bids, or 10 bids that are sealed. And FYI, contractors, I'd wrap them in duct tape if I were you. Watch them get opened at a meeting, and see who your low bidder is, and let them do the project that's good for the kids. That's it. That is the way that it should go down. And if anything else is done, you need to be questioning motives. I'm telling all the people out there listening, and I'll go back on Facebook and make a video, and I'll say it again. If anything other than what I just described happens, you need to be questioning the motives of the people making those motions. Period. Because apparently there's something else going on, and I won't get into that. I'm just telling you the right way that it's supposed to happen.
Can we go back to have we broke ground on the 4-H?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
it's still, and that's what I said, and I'm glad that people are looking at this, because it's still in the beginning phases. There's been no ground broke. There's been no contractor selected. Now, there's been some people selected, and I don't know how they were selected because it goes back to that whole
That's the
planning side.
initial problem.
Yes, and apparently, we came to the $1.8 million mark, which typically in a project that's derived from an engineer's estimate. Okay, that's great. You got an engineer. Who's the engineer? Where's the plans? And how did he come to the estimate? Okay, you've answered those three things. Sounds good. That's where the number came from. Then it went to the growth partnership, and they slung the grant. The state approved it. It came back down. Okay, now we got to go through that bid process that I just described a couple seconds ago.
The money hasn't been officially allotted yet, though. But
That's
it's,
right.
It's in the pre-stage of that. Looks like it will happen.
It's looking like it's coming.
Yeah. There's another whole option there. They want to tear the one building down where that building still has life left in it. So there's a process for the commissioners to even follow to tear that building down before they can even approve that project to put it there. And I think there's somebody wanting to skip that part of the
Don't make me get my permit out. I got it in my pocket. It says I can do what I want to do.
There's another partial or piece, of the fairgrounds up there. That building would fit perfectly, and we could still retain the old building and use it for, to improve the kids and everything too.
Now, which building are you talking about?
The
Tony?
4H building.
The actual, like the one that has the kitchen in it, and
Yes,
like where the
yes.
projects are displayed. Okay. I just want to clarify which
Right.
building,
He's wanting to tear that down.
not the commercial buildings.
And build another one there. Well, why tear that down when we have another piece of where we could actually build the same building and keep that building instead of doing away and destroying county property once again? So, that's my opinion.
Those are project specifics.
If there had been a scoping committee where people could have got discussed this and everything, that may have been brought up.
You think?
Proper procedure.
I don't care if they make it 3 stories and they paint it pink.
Right.
If that's what they decide on, as long as it is done the right
Procedurally.
way, procedurally, and everybody knows. If they ask a question, hey, what are you building up there? Right here. Here's the prints. We had this engineer do them after we came up with this over here amongst this group of people, the scoping committee conversation, however he's going to put it out, whatever actually happened. And this is where we're at. And we really are digging the pink right now. And okay, but not what I would have chose, but wonderful. You went through the steps. And people lose track of that. People listen to this, and I'm sure that there's some that get on here and they say, oh, he's just on there and he's complaining, or he's complaining about this project, or you got families on there that that have a lot to do with show pigs, show cattle, or kids are deeply involved in 4-H. So let me say that again for the masses: is I'm not opposed to it. I think it's a great thing for the kids. But it's another shiny example of how we don't do things the proper way, and it keeps everybody in turmoil. It doesn't have to be that way. It should be a good thing that you can share with the public and say, here's what we did. Your leadership that you put in office, this is what we did for you. And instead you turn around and you make it look underhanded and shady because you broke that permit out. I can do what I want to do, and right now I don't want to tell you nothing. Go get him, Brent. Get him out of here. I'm done talking to him. I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing, and I'm still. I'm telling you, there's so much. It's just. It's like that. You don't even talk to your own constituents. Every time that I go down a road during this campaign, it's 10 more things pop up that I'm like, are we serious? Is that really what we're doing? That's the best we got. It's sad. And it just makes me exhausted just thinking about it, that we, personally, professionally, like, this is it. this is the best we got in this county. I grew up here. I want to think that we are better than this. We're smarter than this. And I mean, I just can't right now. I want it to be. We talked in depth with Brad about that, whenever he was here, and I've told you before, if I thought that was actually happening, I wouldn't even be sitting here to begin with, because I would have been comfortable with what was happening, and I wouldn't have chose to have ran. But I'm not. It sucks. It does. The way that we do business right now as a county government, and it's just not good. I'm at a loss for words even trying to describe it. But after what I watched and the responses from the public, and then we've got, like I said, other people that are in office and they're firing back at people, and I'm like, my God, this is what it's came to over a thing that at its core should be really good. Isn't that wild how it turns like that just based on the actions of people?
So the 4-H project, Tony, you not had very much input in it, or what?
I had no input in it. It was brought up in one of them so-called executive meetings right after I took office, and somebody said this is that and that's this and blah blah blah, and I watched. I was fairly new at the time, and I watched some arguing going on. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "Holy smokes!" And
which is illegal, because that's not a topic that falls under executive session. It should have been done in open forum, but it was not. Because I'm going to refer to it again. You pulled the card. I can do what I want, and I don't want to talk to everybody else today.
And then it got brought up in a joint meeting with the council to get the $300,000 matching grant approved. And I may be wrong, but I feel prior to asking for any approval, any matching grants, the project itself should have been approved. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's the way I see it. I feel it should have been done. So
I'd have been curious to know if anybody on the council actually even saw this set. Have you seen a set of plans on
not
this?
a set of plans, no, but there is a diagram of the, how the rooms are going to lay out and all that.
See, I thought it was just for the extension office. I did not know that it was for.
No, they're building the extension office onto the building.
So
okay,
the building now, about 80-90% of it can be used for displays and stuff for the kids, and with the Purdue office going in there, and this is where I got the problem, you're actually going to have less square footage for them to be active in there, and that's why I would push for keeping that building so they can use that and build that building they're wanting to build over there off to the side where this old swimming pool was, and and then we get a bigger bang for our buck at that point in time. But that's my opinion.
So so it's going. See, I did not know that. I thought the extension office would move there, but I didn't realize. So it's going to have other
the biggest
rooms. I didn't know that. So
the biggest footprint is to take care of the extension office itself by half of the interior diagram.
So we're told. I haven't seen prints.
Well, we got the interior diagram that was drawn up.
Apparently, we've got enough of a sketch on a napkin to get to 1.8 million, but we don't have. I mean, I worked with a whole lot of builders in my day, and I don't know any of them that work on the fly without prints
so
of
you're
some
talking,
sort.
So there's a difference between $1 million and $300,000. So who's going to be? How's that going to be covered?
What do you mean? Like, what's that extra money for?
So it got applied for in the Ready One.
Okay, so is that a grant completely?
Yes, it's 300 some thousand, whatever the number was.
It got denied.
It got denied, and
Okay.
then it got pushed back through when the Ready 2 program come out, and it changed from that to the 1.8 or whatever it is now. I mean, I didn't know it was that high until I seen the paperwork that got sent to me from a citizen.
But that's the thing, though, is how do we...
Not internal with the government. It was sent to me from a citizen.
So how do we... I keep coming back to that, but how do we get to that number? How do we know what to ask for? Which leads me to believe there's a set of plans. We've talked to an engineer, because last I checked, Tony, did you give a number or talk to an engineer about this project?
No, sir.
There's only 2 other guys, so... I don't think either one of them did it themselves. Okay, so who are we talking to? Who gave us this number that they in turn went to the growth partnership with? Who, where, how? Like none of that is answered. Nobody knows. And then this mythical set of prints, and I mean, they're talking about bidding this thing, right after the fair?
There's support letters written on behalf of everybody and this and that, okay, wait a minute, where did they come from?
Go ahead.
Support letters, go on, what do you mean by that?
So, it's like support letters written, like, on behalf of the commissioners that we support this and we're behind it and all this and that, which is basically saying that we give it the green light to go, but it's never been voted on in an open meeting. I once again want to clarify, I think it's a good thing, and I'm not against it, but let's follow the procedures, and there's another way to go about this to even get more benefit out of it for everybody, in my opinion. So.
I want to know how you're going to build it and how you're going to bid it without having plans.
Well, you and I both know that it's probably not going to work.
It needs to. Or the people of this county, again, I'll say it again, if it's anything other than a standard sealed bid, because we're over the $150,000 mark by a lot, if it's anything other than that, it's wrong. Hear me again, people, it's wrong. So if you hear talk about it or you see it happening, show up to a meeting, tell people it's wrong.
I was
Understand the
told
process.
the other day I need to be quiet about it because it was free money coming to us and all this and that.
Well, technically it's not free money.
Well,
I mean,
and I
it's
want to
still
explain
taxpayer
that.
dollars.
It is. I am
There's
a
never
resident
free
of
money.
No.
There's no such thing.
It comes from Indiana's taxpayers' money. I am a resident of the state of Indiana. I got elected to be a good steward of our money. It don't matter if it comes from federal, state, or county. I'm still supposed to watch out for that.
So, and just for the people that are out there listening, READY stands for Regional Economic Acceleration and Development Initiative. That's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's basically, it's a fund that through your regional development centers, your RDCs that you hear people talk about in the meeting without explaining what an RDC is, it goes through them back up to the state for certain targeted projects. And that's the easiest way that I can explain it, but it's still state money. It's not, we didn't break out the printer and start making new.
It was a surplus of state taxpayers' money through the state that Governor Holcomb designed this program to develop the economy. So.
Yeah. And I was looking for a little bit more on here.
So we got denied the first time, and then the second time.
Yeah, they stepped it up and ended up getting it approved.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So it's a grant program. I mean, it focuses on stuff like housing, infrastructure, innovation. I mean, it could be. There's a whole bunch of stuff that falls up under it, and I would say, I don't know, what do you think the success rate is with that program? You put in 10 projects, you might get, what, 2 or 3 approved?
Oh, you would ask. It's actually a low percentage, actually.
Yeah, of approval. I mean, because, well, you've got a lot of counties, a lot of entities that are putting in for this stuff. Everybody's got stuff they need done.
We belong to a group of, I believe, 5 counties or whatnot, and I think...
That's your RDC. That's your what is that?
It's broke down.
Our Southern Indiana.
Yeah.
And then it goes to River Hills past that, which is legitimate for those that are questioning that. There's reasons it has to go through that process. Which actually, that kind of segues me into the other thing that I wanted to talk about. So I had conversations with the president and the director for our economic growth partnership here in the county, and there was, obviously the way that this went down and the way the other projects have went down as far as were these being decided. Like you're just slinging grants, like who's saying, yeah, that's a good idea before you're doing these things. And why do we not see, that organization in particular is a little over 90% taxpayer funded. So when we start talking about ROI, like what am I getting for my money? Like I have questions, and they were very nice. I mean, they answered all my questions, and they wanted to be. I'm gonna use that word that I hate. They said they wanted to be transparent with the public.
You're getting there.
I know.
No, that was their word,
That's
not
our
mine.
words, yeah.
But it's like I explained to them. I said when you don't communicate and you don't put things out there in front of people, it has the opposite effect, the negative effect. Just like we're seeing with this project now. Took a good thing, and now it's turned ugly, right? And we had a long conversation about, hey, that for those that don't know, that organization, the Growth Partnership, is Justin, who's the president of that, refers to it as the marketing arm for Washington County. That's how he likes to refer to it. And I'm like, okay. So they wear a lot of hats, bringing new business into the county, trying to increase our tax base. They do a lot with the grant programs and things like that. And I said, well, being as the taxpayer is paying for all this, I said, I see a lot of big projects. I see these ready grants going up. I see this, that, and the other. And I said, what about the local guy? What about the guy that has worked for the last 20 years and is really good at what he does, and he's always wanted to do it for himself, and he's just now at a point in his life where he can get the money, or he feels like he's ready, or whatever the case. I said, what about that guy? Do we support that guy? Because if that guy starts a business, and if he's got 2 employees or he's got 200 employees, I said, that's more tax base. It's it's economic expansion of some sort. And I will tell all the good folks out there, they have assured me that they will do anything they can to help anyone in this county with your business needs. They have assured me. So if you need assistance, okay, if you have questions, if you're interested in some of the grant programs and things like that, I strongly encourage you to reach out to them and ask. In addition to that, they have agreed to start coming to the commissioners' meetings on a periodic basis and giving reports of what is happening. Some
I
of the things
actually
that
went
they're
and
doing.
spoke with Justin
Yeah.
Friday and sent an email out directly after that requesting him and Ashley to be put on the agenda for the next commissioners meeting to speak on the economic growth development partnership.
Which, and it's like we had a conversation, and sometimes people, because they get stuck on certain local companies around here and this and that, there are things that are done that you have to be a pretty good sized entity to handle. And I get that. And some of the grants that have went up, whether I agree with the fact that we put them up or not, that's neither here nor there, but the larger view of it is you have to be a big company. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine, but again, what about that lone guy trying to start up out of his garage and make it for whatever he's trying to do? Or what about that that lady that wants to start her own catering company because she's been thinking about it for 10 years and she's just now comfortable enough to try to do it? I gotta try, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. There's all kinds of initiatives out there for people doing this kind of stuff, and that, regardless of how you want to look at it, is it big, is it sexy, is it a manufacturing company coming in and creating 300 jobs? No, but it still improves our economy. It improves our tax base, whether it's by $2 or $2 million, it makes no difference. And that's what that organization is there to help with. And I don't think that most people even know they exist, but they're going to, because I'm going to continue to tell them. And I've had the conversations with these people saying that they are ready and willing to help in any way they can. Whether you're big, small, in the middle, we don't care. Show up and we will do it. So, put it to the test, people. If you need help, if you got an existing business and you need help, if you want to start a business and you need help, if you don't understand how to run said business, there are tools for all of this that either they can help you directly with, or they have contacts and partnerships with other agencies in the state or the Fed that can help you with these things. From, I know that there's tons of stuff just through the SBA by itself, and that's just one entity. The state has entities that are set up in various regions to help with things like business planning and the administrative side, to teach people how to do this, because that's what you see a lot, is you see people that have a very, very good skill set and have absolutely no idea how to run a business. All those things are there. So please, if you need the help, reach out to them and ask. And again, they'll be coming to the commissioners meeting to kind of start bringing themselves into the light and letting people know this is who we are, and this is what we're working on your behalf, and this is a good thing. I'm so tired of the positives. Even when we have these wins and we have these small victories, they get overshadowed by something else. I'm tired of that. We need to put them out on Front Street so that people can see them and say, this is what we did. And if we're doing things the right way, in the legitimate way, why not tell everybody about it? I mean, I don't see anybody getting upset, over good things. Again, it baffles me, but it's another instance, and the phone calls that I had with that organization were very positive. So I did want to say that, and I do want to encourage people to please step out and ask for their help when needed, and let them do their job. I mean, they're being paid from the county. Let's just get the return, But yeah, I wanted to touch on that for a minute, because those are things that have transpired since the last time that I was in here, and personally, I think that's a really good thing. Thoughts on that, Tony?
I 100% agree. I just recently got on that board, and there's a lot to learn and everything. I mean, anything needs improvement, and I believe that's one of them that probably does need some.
So it's city and county both then?
Yeah, it's a joint partnership.
Yeah.
Yes, there's money that comes from both sides. When again, I just kind of encompass everybody as county, because Salem falls within the county. But yes, there's monies coming from the county and from the city of Salem as well for that marketing side. And a lot of what they do, like I said, is trying to lure companies in to set up here. Regardless of what they do, they're trying to create jobs, increase tax base, things of that nature, and that's pretty much their whole purpose.
Yeah, they're in charge of the industrial park out here on Jim Day Road. So on that, and anybody interested in moving there, that's who they have to go through to get a plot of ground out there to create their business or move their business or however.
But the point that I made to him, though, whenever I talked to him, was, normally most of your businesses, especially in a rural county, aren't these, it's not GKN over and over and over again. It's a conglomerate of all these smaller and mid-sized businesses that make up your local economy. I'm like, those, I'm not saying don't go for the big hit, don't submit the big grants, don't do, but you got to look at these other guys too, because when you're, when a person's trying to start out, something is, $10, $15, $20,000 is an awfully big deal, depending on what industry you're trying to start in, and it could make or break them, and being able to find, our local banks that are willing to work with them, our SBA programs that they're able to work with, all these other programs that exist with, I'd hate to even throw a number out on how many programs there are to try to help people start successful businesses in this country and in this state. The resources are ridiculous. And we probably spend more money on people sitting in those seats than what we actually should, but they're there, so use them. You're paying for them. And the growth partnership is just another example of that. They are your first stop, so to speak, when you need help and when you want to do these kind of things. And ultimately, whether it's them or it's any of these boards or these organizations or stuff that we have, I want people to know about them, and I want them to be happy about them. If they can't know about them, they're not doing the right thing, and they can't be happy about them, they need to go away. Period. I mean, and when I say people, I'm talking about the populace, the voters. Okay? If you're not doing it the right way, people don't know about you, and they're not happy about it, no, you don't need to be there. It's just what it is. And that's what I explained to them. I said, I don't see anybody from GKN going to church and talking nice about your organization on Sunday. But you help somebody get up and rolling, you help somebody maybe over an issue that has an existing business, and I'm talking smaller people, smaller companies, mid-sized companies. Those are the people in your community that tell their friends, tell their neighbors, talk about you at church, and that's how you get seen in a positive light, as a good thing. Hey, what's that number there? Why are we paying those tax dollars out? Oh, that goes to Growth Partnership. Oh, that's fine. We like them. They do good stuff. That's what you want across the board.
Sure.
And again, that's what we're pushing for. And the conversation I had with them, they're very positive and very receptive. Did you have any other? Was that how your interaction with them went, Tony?
Oh yeah, like I said, I just recently got on the board, 3-4 months into it, so still learning it, seeing it, but.
And there's a lot there to navigate with this stuff. There really is.
Wes, we need to wrap up. We're getting to the end, but I guess let's kind of put an ending note, and of course.
There's not much of an ending note that I haven't already talked about.
Okay.
We're about a week out from the primary here to see how this thing's going to shake out, and hopefully it goes well. And irregardless, in my personal case, whether it does or not, the things that I'm saying on here still stand true, and that's what needs to happen. We need to have we need to get a more positive light shined on the things that we're trying to do, the good things that we're trying to do in this county, and if they can't be put out there on stage and have that positive light shined on them, then we need to look very, very hard at, do we still need them?
Right.
And
All right, this is a thank you, Wes Bowers, and thank you, Tony Cardwell, for coming in on this Monday. And this has been a paid political program brought to you by Wes Bowers for Washington County Commissioner. And thank you guys for coming in. Happy Monday, right?
thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank our other sponsors: Meadowview Healthcare Center, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Rosa's Restaurant, Fox Per League Wealth Management, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Marshall Monuments, Springer & Springer Insurance, Schneck Medical Hospital, Temple & Temple, and Wes Bowers for Commissioner. All right, let's have the best Monday ever, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give Du Bois County Tire a call. Big or small, they service all. They have the name brand tires, to keep you cruising on down the road. They got tires for driving means. They even got them for your farm machine. You can call them day or night. Du Bois County Tire does it right. Big or small, we service all. Du Bois County Tire.
Now through March 31st, get up to $180 back with a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $80 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Available at Washington County Tire Shop in Salem. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See BridgestoneRewards.com for details.
Big or small, we service all. Du Bois County Tire.
Bourbon and Beyond is back. The world's largest music, spirits, and culinary experience returns to the heart of Louisville, Kentucky, featuring Foo Fighters, Mumford & Sons, Chris Stapleton, Dave Matthews Band, Queens of the Stone Age, Casey Musgraves. Plus, Red Clay Strays, Hootie and the Blowfish, The War on Drugs, Foster the People, Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, Counting Crows, Jesse Wells, Jesse Murph, Goose, and so many more. Bourbon and Beyond returns to Kentucky Expo Center September 24th through 27th with access to the thrills of Kentucky Kingdom Theme Park. Don't miss the best 4 days of the year, blending world-class music, food,